There was some stories that came out of Ohio, or the Lantern and some other different news outlets, looking at your background and some questions maybe about not coming from an academic background necessarily. Right. Where do you see that being maybe a downside for your leadership at a place like Ohio State, but maybe also what are the upsides?
Yeah. You know, I'm not afraid of criticism. I'm not perfect. My background is my background. And the hallmark of my career is always been asked to go do something that I didn't expect. And I've always been willing to serve and go take on those jobs and do the very best I can. You know, when I was a newly minted Rear Admiral, one-star Admiral, I did not necessarily see myself going into academia. The head of the Navy, the Chief of Naval Operations, said, we want you to go to run the U.S. Naval War College. And I actually questioned him on why would you want me to do that? I don't have that typical background. He said, exactly. So I went to the U.S. Naval War College. I loved it. It was a graduate level program studying not how to engage in war, but studying more of the prevention of war. And you know, we had international students from all the different aspects of the Department of Defense. And then I was offered the opportunity to go run the U.S. Naval Academy, a place where I had started. And again, very important academic institution. It's not a military school. It is a university. Not only did I get to go there, I was there longer than anybody had served there continuously since the Civil War. So even though 5 years in higher ed doesn't seem like a long time, at an institution like that, because of the intensity, it is a very long time. And it was during that period of time that I just fell in love with watching the development of young minds and seeing them go on to success, watching them graduate, go into service, see them come back to the institution that they loved. And that's when I thought, you know, maybe I'm a pretty good fit for higher ed in the civilian world. And I went through a number of applications. Sometimes it's frustrating because you're not a perfect fit everywhere. And I knew that I was, you know, something of a non-traditional candidate. But my background in running very large, unusual, complex organizations, and we can go through what some of those are, I think made me a good fit because these institutions don't necessarily require you to go back into the classroom, which is what a classic academic might have in terms of, you know, maybe their research or maybe that's where they started. What they really require is to understand people, understand how to get things done, how to see the various circles of influence that all have different weights and how to tend to all of them all at the same time. And these are leadership jobs, and leadership matters. So that's why I said yes to Nebraska. My wife and I had really not spent any time there. We had no ties to Nebraska, and we really enjoyed our experience there. You know, it was not an easy job. I lived through COVID like everybody else, and we were successful. And again, I did not go looking for Ohio State. Ohio State came and found me. And the more and more we had a deep dive discussion into it, the more and more I realized that this is an opportunity of a lifetime and that maybe I am a good fit for this institution. And now that I've been here 11 days, however it happened, I believe I'm where I'm supposed to be. And my job right now, particularly for those that will question, you know, maybe my academic credentials, my background, I'll just say two things. One is give me a chance, and they'll find that I am a champion for those that have been classically trained in academia because I respect what they've done. And I've been around it now. This is my 4th higher ed president job. The second is I've been in the teaching and learning space my whole life. It may not be in the classic academic sense, but I've been teaching you know, the academics of what it takes to be a top flight fighter pilot, how to rebuild aircraft carriers, how to run academic institutions, all different structures in the military that, again, have a lot of civilian connections. So when you take a look at the depth of my entire background, as unusual as it is, however it's happened, I'm here. And I'm really excited to be here.